Hello, everyone. I think we'll get started. Good evening, and it's very exciting to meet with all of you. We're all really looking forward to meeting you in person in the flesh in May. We're getting really excited. We're starting to do our preparations, and we've seen on the group that many of you are also prepared and ready. So yeah, we're looking very much forward to our 5 days or maybe a few more together. And we thought that we would have, something of an event like this, just so that we could come together a little bit beforehand and just have a little bit of a preparation because, we really have a big vision for this event. We want it to be something, very special so that everyone really gets the most out of it. So we thought, how can we, really get prepared, have everyone on the same page before we start, just so that we can all, start at the same place and leave together. So the idea of tonight was just to give you a little bit of an idea behind everything that we're doing and how you can also be ready. And if there's some things that maybe you need to catch up on or some ideas, and you can also then just be in contact with us and with each other. We thought it would be a good sort of starting point. One of these things that you can do, we have set up the WhatsApp group, and I have sent out the link to join that. But if you're still having difficulty joining, I know someone had sent me a request to help them last night. And if you're still wanting to join the group or you haven't worked out how to yet, just drop me a message and we'll make sure that you're part of that. It's quite useful. People are communicating about where they're staying, how they're getting around. So lots of logistics happening there. And we'll also share, minute by minute updates if needed. We can do it on the group. So it is quite useful if as many people as possible are on the group, just to share information in an easier way. So if you need any help, please let me know and we'll get you onto that group. Yeah. So as part of leading up to this seminar, there's certain things that we had shared with all of you in some of the newsletters, but we thought we would just re-announce announce it a little bit. Just some things like, for example, the books. We had suggested that everyone brings with them their copy of the Schema 2.0 and the Quick Guide, Superclasses Quick Guide. Now, sorry, people are still joining. So we had suggested that everyone brings their copy with them, as this will be very, very useful in the seminar. We will be constantly referring to these texts during the case. So if you have it with you, it will be much more helpful. We did say that there was a deadline. We were offering to, if you ordered, we would get one for you and we would make it available for you to purchase it in Greece. The deadline has closed, but if there are any last minute people who maybe missed that message or somehow, you're most welcome to let me know and we'll see what we can do. We'll arrange for you as well. But it's very important, these books, if you have them, to bring them with the Schema 2.0 and the Superclasses Quick Guide. Now, we also have quite a mixed group who will be attending, in terms of that many people who will be joining us in Greece will be from the international Gurukul. We have about 20 to 30 people from our international Gurukul attending. And then we also have, so they are quite up to date, I think, on superclasses, five-finger method, etc. Then we also have some old colleagues, who've been doing sensation for many years, but maybe they haven't been quite so caught up with the latest innovations. People from Wish and from other groups as well joining us. So especially for these groups, maybe who aren't an international group, and who haven't necessarily been so in close contact with the latest ideas, we highly recommend, if you haven't already, to read the books Superclasses in Homeopathy and also From Shadow to Light. Superclasses in Homeopathy will obviously deal with the superclasses and five-finger method, and From Shadow to Light will deal with the wise processes in homeopathy. And half of the seminar will be dedicated to WISE processes, undergoing them and how to use them, etc. So if you can read these before coming to Greece, it will really, really get you off to a good start, and you'll be much better prepared. These are available on Amazon. So if you want to start reading them already before you come, it's very important that you sort of order them ASAP. They are available on Amazon in all of your countries. They should be there. So please do take advantage of that. If there's any difficulties or you haven't understood what I've said or you want a specific link, you're most welcome to, again, be in contact. So these resources, very, very important. Please do try and read it. It will help you a huge amount when you come, so that we don't have to necessarily go through superficial things, but we can really take this seminar to a deep level by starting off from a similar place. And just to run quickly through some of the things that we will be going through tonight and that will be important in the seminar. As I've mentioned, the books, but also things like the masterclass. If you haven't been involved in the Gurukul and you want, more updated teaching on these individual things, you can access the masterclass from Hope. If you need help with this, please let me know. So we also have the latest level 6, which has been added to the first 5 levels of masterclass, which is there. This is all about superclasses and 5-finger method, and it's really brilliant. So please do look into this if you want to catch up. As I mentioned, the books, you can either on the website, but probably if you need it before Greece, the best bet will be Amazon for superclasses and schema. Quick Guide is not available on Amazon, but we can bring that to Greece. But you need to let me know in the next day or two. As we mentioned, superclasses in homeopathy and From Shadow to Light is there on Amazon. Please do read these if you haven't read them yet. Schema 2.0 and superclasses Quick Guide. And then another thing, I think many people, especially from Gurukul and also Wish members, etc., will be familiar with the SHS, Synergy Homeopathic Software. But we use this in every case. In every case that we will demonstrate, we will be using software. And every case that has been taken has used the software. So if you're not familiar with it or you don't have it, please look into it. We have spoken with the SHS team, and they very kindly have offered a wonderful discount to everyone who will be attending Greece. So if you want to purchase this before attending Greece and you want to make use of the Greek discount, just mail me and I'll put you in touch with SHS and they'll make sure that you get a discount on the software. And we'll also show you in cases as well how we use it and why it's so important. But for now, we'll stop there with all of this. If there are any questions about these things, about software, books, again, please do let us know. We're very happy to help you. Anything from you, Dr. Sankaran, or should we start with the case?
So yes, welcome everyone, and we are also looking forward to the Greek event less than a month from now. So welcome to Greece as well. Thank you, Eleni, for organizing so many things for us there.
Thank you, sir.
I'm looking forward to wonderful learning, getting together, and forming bonds, connections. And yeah, all of that. And I want to let you know that we are handpicking the cases for you to show, to demonstrate at a very advanced level, addressing the deeper aspects of practice in terms of difficulties, in terms of challenges, in terms of long-term follow-ups, in terms of pathological cases. And many of the, so it's really, it probably will be the deepest level of discussions that I've had in any seminar. And also, we are looking for a live case. I think, Kyle, you probably identified one live case. Is it right? You're
We've had
muted.
some possibilities
Okay.
that we are busy finalizing the details.
Okay, good. And one of the things that we will explore deeply is the five-finger method. But the five-finger method, in short, is that looking at the case from all the aspects, the superclass, kingdom, subkingdom, miasm, characteristics, and keynotes. So this is a comprehensive look at the case and matching the five essential aspects of the case to the five essential aspects of the remedy in order to get the most predictable and consistent result. This is the idea of the five finger. But what we will explore in the seminar is the uh, mistakes that we can make. In fact, we will be examining the, one can say, the weakness of the five finger method and where it can mislead instead of leading sometimes. And where it can mislead is basically in terms of prejudice, in terms of making up our mind before the fact, and then in a way fixing the case into that, and then not being able to see anything else. So that prejudice is our biggest problem. And what is the solution? It's easy to say, don't be prejudiced, but it doesn't work like that. And what I discovered, frankly, was that the way out of prejudice is a line by line method, a line by line approach. That means you read every line of the case and understand it in terms of what is its category. Is this belonging to a superclass, a kingdom, miasm, etc.? And categorizing all this information and then putting it together, not forgetting one thing, not ignoring anything. So, line by line method means you are compelled to look at every little information in the case. And that's the only way out of prejudice. Otherwise, we cherry pick, we just pick what we want and ignore what we don't want or what doesn't fit with our theory. So here you are forced. So we are going to focus a little bit on this line by line approach. And I have some very bad news for you, and that is that you will get homework. So we are going to send you 6 cases by the 15th of April. So you will have about 3 weeks to look into it and try to use the line by line method yourself, And unlike on a webinar where I cannot attack you physically, but in Greece, uh, this possibility exists. So that is one of the advantages. So you're going to think about the, we'll only send you 6 cases. So we will probably present between 12 and 15 cases in Greece. But out of that, 6 cases you can study. A very, very, very nice to learn from. Uh, so that is one thing we will do. And definitely also the wise processes is going to be very, very interesting because it's going to be experiential for you. It's an opportunity for you not only to learn but to heal yourself, to become aware of your own patterns, right? And if you are able to go through that, which I'm sure you will, then you will be able to use this experience to lead your patients deeper into their experience, either through wise or otherwise. So those 2 days are going to be very interesting. I wouldn't. I would advise all of you to stay those 2 days and never leave. Those may be the most important 2 days of your life. That if you're right, it can be the beginning of your awareness. Except, and I want to share with you something quite exciting also, that on the one of the processes, we are going to do 4 processes in that wise process. 4 processes, but the last process that we will do is the relationship process, which is attempting to heal your relationship, not only with your partner, but also with yourself. And we are going to base that on the super classes. How can, let us say, see these super classes, we call it types, oyster type, snail type, bird type, dog type, horse type, lion type. What if you are the horse type and your partner is a snail type? What happens? What happens to that relationship? So, to know that, to become aware of it, we have devised a whole process and how you can heal and grow from that relationship also. So, that is going to be the first time we will ever do it. And I'm very excited by that. I've written a whole book on that subject called The Six Soul Types, Your Pathway to Love, Life, and Liberation. But here we are going to make it practical. We're going to create that into a kind of a healing workshop. Besides for that, I'm also planning that every morning we will do half an hour of meditation. So I have devised a separate meditation for each day. It's like a LM potency. So we will go a little one level higher each day. And on the fifth day, you will all be enlightened. You will all be floating on the ceiling. Nobody will be on the floor. Maybe. I'm just joking in a typical California style, but that's okay. So, meditation, music, and these processes, spiritual orientation, all is a part of the wise retreat. But we will have the meditation on all the days, all the 5 days. It's optional. I mean, you can come or you don't have to come. Also, what I want to suggest, and what has worked very well in the My Week with Rajan programs that we have had in Mumbai, is the group discussion. So, after some cases, or maybe all cases, we will give you 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, whatever you want, to form little groups of 5, 6, 8 people and discuss the case. Just for your information, we are already about 70 people in the workshop at the moment. So, yeah, so we will split this into groups, and we will have one representative of each group presenting their solution and see how it goes. But that really is a good learning tool, you can say. So these are the things I wanted to share with you. I think I spoke too much. Kyle, we can start with the case.
Yeah. So we wanted to obviously make this interesting for all of you and give a case and lead into it. But we also wanted to show, we talk about how we're using all these books and why they're important and why the software is important. So we also show a little bit about that, because a lot of the information that we use in the analysis comes from these books. And maybe it appears easy when the analysis is being done by Dr. Sankaran, or when he presents a case, it looks easy. But it's all built upon a huge foundation of knowledge, which we have and it's available to you. But we need to know how to access it and where to get it from. So we felt that the best way to do this was through a case and show you how we break down the case and how we analyze the case and where does all this different information come from when we talk about the 5 fingers. How do we learn all of this information and how do we apply it? So we thought we would share one case. And now this case is from the book Superclasses in Homeopathy. And this book is really wonderful because it has so many cases in it. We have about 40 plus cases, with long cases with the full transcript of the case, and all interjected with Dr. Sankaran's thoughts and analysis that would happen naturally while he's taking the case. So this is a great resource that we like to give out and suggest people use just for the cases themselves, to study the method and to study many different things like case taking or all these things. You can do it through the transcripts, which are given in this book, along with all the other information about superclasses, about miasms, kingdoms, etc. So this book, this is how we present the case, and you'll see that how we're discussing, a specific case. This was the case of a 58-year-old female, and she had come to us with the main complaints of psoriasis and eczema. So the whole presentation won't be us just reading, don't worry, but just to give you some information about the patient and how she starts the case. So we start the case by asking the patient, what is the problem? And how we can help them.
Excuse me, Kyle. It is very difficult to read. It's very small. Can you change it a little bit? Yeah,
Better?
thank you. Thank you. Yes, better.
Good, good. So this was, as I said, a 58-year-old female with psoriasis and eczema. And she narrates her complaints as follows. She says that I was learning pottery 4 years back, and I got eruptions and patches of dry skin on my fingers. It started becoming worse. I stopped pottery and went to a homeopath. They said it was psoriasis. I took their remedy for about 8 months and it went away. Then I developed eczema on the feet. She told me that I was stressed and that the psoriasis would come back when I was stressed. I tried meditation and things were all right for a bit. 2 years back, I had jaundice. Then something like chikungunya began. So chikungunya is an infectious disease that's quite common in India. Knees were so bad and I couldn't stand up. I started Ayurvedic treatment and I began strict control over my diet, but things were not working out. Then I got fever and joint pains became less after 3 to 4 days. Then the infection and my face puffed up like a ball. Then I went to Kerala and I had massage with hot oil. After this, I got a huge blister on the feet, as if the top of the skin was parting from the bottom of the skin, and I would just cut it away. So this gradually developed into bad psoriasis, and my confidence was shaken. So we can see here in this narration that she's described her main complaints, but there's nothing really peculiar or specific in these complaints. So we continue. she says that my hands have started erupting. My feet are getting better, but my hands are getting worse. I have been a healthy person. I have an enthusiasm for learning new things. My dad passed away 4 years ago, and things have been going downhill since then. He used to love all aspects of life. He was a very obedient father of 4 daughters. He was in a coma, and we heaved a sigh of relief. His passing away was very comfortable. He was always surrounded by love. At least 2 people were always around him. I had always given him as much love as I could. I don't remember feeling traumatized or shocked. He went very suddenly. The evening before, he had been fine. It felt as though someone up there had blessed him. Subsequently, 2 of my sisters had a big falling out, and that just broke the feeling that nothing could separate us. And that has traumatized me. That has shaken the core of my being. So we can see how the patient begins the narration with their main complaint, the psoriasis and the eczema, but somehow from there, she goes into this thing about her father and his passing. And we get some unique information, which we will come back to shortly. And so you see in the book how we also highlight all of this for you. So we tell you that the patient tells us general information. These are all common situations and reactions. Nothing peculiar comes up. So we take the patient to a different area and ask her about her dreams. So she narrates a dream for us. She says, I am WhatsApping my best friend that my mum has died peacefully. So we ask her, what does she mean by dying peacefully? And she says it's to go to sleep and never wake up, to look at death coming to you and to smile. But, we still haven't quite understood what this means in the context of the case and the patient. So to understand this, we ask about what would be the opposite of dying peacefully. And this would be like to die in an emotionally or physically traumatized way, to die in a physical violence. It's like sticking a knife in you. I don't know if I have the strength. It's not like slicing through a cabbage. So this is now where the case starts to become interesting for us. Because if we see in this case, she goes from something like a peaceful death, then to violence, and then to slicing a cabbage. It seems quite bizarre, actually, and doesn't make any sense to us. So this is the bit of information that we need to understand and we need to stay with until we can understand how it fits in the case or what its relation to the context is. So this is when we ask the patient to describe slicing a cabbage. And she says that cabbage is a very easy vegetable to cut. The knife doesn't slip. It has layers and layers. It cuts easily. It cuts smoothly. And it provides enough resistance. And then she goes on to the next point. But this is very interesting up until now. We can see how we went from her main complaint, then she goes somewhere else, and then we need to go deeper into the case. So what do? We go into her dreams. And so up till now, we've understood that she's a 58-year-old female with psoriasis and eczema. She's given us the whole history of the psoriasis, but it wasn't going deeper. So this is a thing that lots of people battle with in their cases, where do you go from here? And what do we do? And that's why we talk about the dream. Because there's this whole thing about peaceful death. But we need to understand it. So we therefore go to the opposite. And what does she say further now? We'll summarize it a little bit. First, she says, the cabbage is very easy to cut. The knife doesn't slip. It has layers and layers. It cuts smoothly, and it provides enough resistance. Whereas, she then says, it's not like cutting an onion. When you cut an onion, you are more likely to cut your fingers, as the surface is very slippery. So now she's given us cutting a cabbage and cutting an onion. From peaceful death, we've come to this point. So then we say, tell us about, cutting your finger. And she says that when you cut it, it's a very sharp cutting pain. And it's all of a sudden you've gone deep. And it's like it's when it touches your nerves and it's just narrowed down to one point. So as we've been talking about this, you can see that there's a lot to do in this case. It might seem very simple after we analyze it and explain it to you, but there's lots of skill and important elements that are needed while we take this case. And so now this page here, this is actually an excerpt from Schema 2.0. So in Schema, we have many of these things, like these case-taking tips about open listening. So you saw in that first bit how we just let her speak about the psoriasis, about her father, about her sisters. We just listen without interrupting. Oh, someone is doing something. Please don't. Yeah. And then all of these different techniques are there. For example, in the last bit, you can see listening for the peculiar. A homeopath must always stay alert for an answer that is not called for. So what did we do? We just waited. We were open. We listened. And then she says about this cabbage. And it becomes very interesting for us. And that's when we go in depth. So this is why books like Schema are very important, because they hold many of these sort of gems that we use in our everyday practice, and they remind you. You go through these things and you learn it. It's very, very helpful. So we've had this one aspect. We'll come back to it and understand it all together about this cabbage and onion. But from there, we go into her second dream. And well, how does she describe the dream? She says that she has a dream where she was tied by a rope on the back of a Jeep. And the Jeep took off, and she took off into the air. And it was a feeling of dancing and swirling, swooping, where you're not bound by gravity. And there's so much joy. And so we ask her to describe this feeling. And she talks about the feeling of lightness in her body. And she describes it as a feeling of not being bound by the physical body. And she spontaneously goes into the opposite and says, the opposite is being tied to a chair. And it's very scary and frustrating. And your heart is beating hard and you're clenching your teeth. So the first dream, we had this WhatsApp of the friend, etc., and about peaceful death. And then we went into cabbage, onion, cutting the fingers. And the second dream, we can summarize as about being freedom and feeling freedom and being bound. It's opposite. Then we ask her to tell us some more dreams. And the third dream she tells us about is like a Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm sure many of you are familiar with the horror movie, Nightmare on Elm Street. And she says that this dream was straight out of that movie. And she dreamt that she was receiving a call from a killer. And she felt that there was no division between dream and reality. And terror felt completely real. And in this, so as we point out here, that what they dream about, whether it's WhatsApping someone or it's a movie or, the activity, less important than what's happening is what is the experience to them while it's happening. So it's very important to go into this experience. So we asked her, what is the experience in this dream? And she says, it's as if your heart is going to stop or burst, and you feel so tense inside. And when she says this, she gives this gesture of the fist, and she says as if your heart is going to stop or burst, and it's so tense inside. So again, many people, maybe they don't know what to do with gestures or these strange, how to know whether a word is significant. And again, we have criteria for this. And this diagram is also found in our book, Schema 2.0. So we have case-taking tips. We have all sorts of material which will help you with this. So how to know if a gesture or word is significant? Does it have movement in terms of energy, speed, sound, direction? Okay, is it given as a gesture? This implies significance. Is it non-human specific? Is it common between man and nature? Does it indicate a kingdom or miasm? That which is global and not local. The person's sensitivity, their attraction or their repulsion to non-human things. The more it is, the more significant it is. And is that thing persistent? Does it hold? Do they move on to something else, or do they stay with it? So like this, we have all our criteria to understand. Now, as we can see from this case, she keeps talking about the feeling of being tight versus feeling of limited. We could see that in the dream with the Jeep, where she's feeling very free versus being bound. And at another point in the case, she describes the tightness as if she's being shrunk into the smallest possible thing. It's like a ball of iron. It's so dense, it's heavy, it's dark, and it's not capable of expanding. And how is this? It's the feeling to be limited. It's like you're sad, frustrated, scared. And if you're in a closed, dark room and a weight on the heart and there's constriction and you're feeling shrunk, she says. And also in the dream about the freedom, she talks about dancing. And how does she describe her feeling about dancing? Also later in the case, she'll also talk about her interests and hobbies. And she says that when she's dancing, she feels like you're not thinking, but you're totally absorbed. There's light. You just flow like water or a bird. And there's no physical limiting body. So everywhere in the case, we can start to see the same anchor coming back of being limited versus being limited, constricted, and shrinking versus the desire to expand beyond it. So this is third superclass. But maybe for some of you who are not necessarily familiar with the third superclass, how do we know that this is third superclass? Where does it come from? So we can understand the superclasses from books like the Quick Guide. And here we'll look at the third superclass, which is the bird. And here the dynamic is limit and expand, which is exactly what she's saying in this case. She talks about feeling limited and wanting to expand, become one. And the response in the third is to stay within the limit, the boundary, the barrier. And the fear is leaving the boundary, or the fear of crossing the line and losing the protection, the care, and the nourishment. So here, one of the big fears and the thing that happened for her was this issue with the relationship with her sisters, where she lost that family limit that she had, where she felt like it could never break, and then it was suddenly gone. So she's lost that. And what is the desire in the third superclass? It's to be caregiving, to be sympathetic to others, and to be inside a group, like her family group with her sisters, to be together in that safe, protected space. And they're very motherly. They care for others, and they desire the same in return, seeking care and affection. And they want to share and be understood. So what sort of situations do we see in the third superclass? where you are limited by your relationship of your care and nourishment and fulfilling others, and where you care too much about the expectations of others. And everything is self-imposed in the third superclass. And where you feel that you have to constantly accommodate to others and you feel limited by change. And here we'll see the additional sensations that they feel is shrinking. She spoke about feeling constricted, feeling shrunk, becoming smaller, and the opposite, expanding and growing larger. So this whole quick guide is very useful for how it gives us the entire superclass features just at a glance. We can go through it and see all the features. And it's very common that when you taking a case, you will see that the language that the patient is speaking is almost exactly written in this book sometimes. It's very uncanny that how our patients can say these exact things. It's very interesting. So this book is very good for those who want to quickly refresh their minds about the superclass, what the main features are, what the desires are, where they like to travel, what they fear, what situations do they find themselves in, like that. We give these examples here as well, like that of Florence Nightingale in the third superclass. Why? Because she's constantly doing good things for others. She's caring for others, very selfless, unselfish behavior, motherly in the third superclass. Like this, we can start to get the idea of the third superclass from these examples. Yeah. And we'll see that also the animal group, it gives us the animal group. So in the third superclass, we have the birds. Now, very interestingly, in this case, she gives an example of a bird. Her feeling is like that to be of a bird. It doesn't mean that she's a bird remedy, but we can see how it links up with all the other features of the third superclass. So this brings us back to third superclass. And it gives us for what the mineral issues are, how it's the third superclass is related to the third row, what the main issues are there.
Yes, Kyle, I can just speak a few words here.
Sure.
Now, as we can see in this case, you see, we have to categorize the information into the various aspects, 5 fingers. So the first information we have is this cabbage and onions, and her sensitivity to slicing her finger with a knife, which she has never done, but this is her sensitivity. And it came out in the most unexpected way also, isn't it? So therefore, what we can understand is that the first aspect is sensitivity, the sensitivity of cutting with a knife. Okay. And secondly, the sensation that the fingers feel cut with a knife. This is the individuality. And individuality belongs to the specific remedy. But which remedy is that? Now, if you go to the rubric cutting pain in the finger or the fingertips, you may have many remedies. Which one are you going to give? For that, you have to understand the context. The context is superclass, kingdom, and miasm. So when you go to the rubric, you should know a little bit which superclass are you looking at, which kingdom, which miasm are you looking at. And then that remedy will pop out from there. Now, how do you know which is what? So here is where the problem comes. Suppose she says constriction. Does constriction mean third superclass? Does it mean fifth superclass? Does it mean tubercular miasm? Does it mean Euphorbiaceae family? Does it mean Cactaceae family? Does it mean boa constrictor? What does it mean? You see, then your mind can get confused. So the answer to that is pattern formation. What is the pattern formation? So each classification we have, whether it is a superclass or a kingdom or a miasm, is a pattern. It's not a single word. It's not a single expression. So a particular word constriction needs to be seen in the context of the whole pattern. If you think it is tubercular miasm, does can you see the pattern of the tubercular miasm? If you think it is this kingdom or this family, can you see the whole pattern? Now, in terms of the superclass, I want to say to you that superclass is one of the best things I have found in my life. Of all the discoveries I made, superclass is one of the best. And why? Why is it one of the best? It's one of the best because it is more obvious than a sensation. For a sensation, you have to dig deep. For a superclass, you don't have to dig that deep because the superclass has two aspects. One is the dynamic, and the second is the nature of the person, and these are interconnected. If the dynamic of the person is withdrawal, this is the first superclass, then the nature of the person will be introverted. The nature of the person will be, I don't want to face the world. The nature of that person will be shy, clinging. The nature of that person will be suppressing, not aggressive. You see? So, the superclass is both the dynamic and the nature, and they are interconnected. The third thing about the superclass is that it connects the kingdoms. So there's a certain aspect of mineral, plant, animal, sarcos, nosodes, etc., etc., hormones, neurotransmitters, fairy tales, you see, movies. So if you say that the person is this superclass, for example, in this person, he says, I feel free like a bird. Bird is in third superclass. You see, limit and expand, constriction and expansion. Constriction is cactus, cactaceae family. So, if you think the person is this superclass, you must see the dynamic of the superclass, you must see the nature of the person in the superclass, and you must see the correlation with all the other elements in that superclass, the mineral element, plant element, animal element. Here you can see the bird, you can see the relationship, which is the mineral part, and then you can see the constriction, which is cactus. So when you see all this pattern, then you can be sure that this is third superclass. Now, which remedy do we need in the third superclass? You have to see which kingdom the pattern is of. In this case, it's a plant kingdom because all you get is sensation, tightness and looseness, cutting pain, etc., etc. All sensation, sensitivity. You don't see competition. You don't see victim aggressor. You don't see relationship and losing and all of these things. Okay. You see them, but they are much, much lower intensity than the sensitivity. Now, if you can see that this person is in third superclass, maybe plant kingdom, which remedy do we need? The one that has got the cutting pain in the finger. This is how these aspects come together. How we have to think. Because that cutting pain is not belonging to any pattern of any superclass or any pattern of any kingdom or any pattern of any miasm. So it must be the individual symptom of the remedy. But that symptom needs to be seen in the context of the three concepts: kingdom, miasm, superclass. Then that symptom or rubric can pop the remedy out for you because that's exactly what it is. So this is the way that, I mean, as you keep doing it, it gets easier and easier and easier. As you see more and more, it gets more and more familiar. Yes, Kyle.
Yeah. So as we said, there's this classification of the information. And so first we come to the superclass. And then we come to the kingdom, as Dr. Sankaran said, in every situation, whether it's her dream, the fear, the interest, there's the sensation and its opposite, whether it's limited versus free, constricted versus expanded, heavy versus light. All of this, there's a sensation, there's a situation, a sensitivity to it, and a sensation and its opposite, which points to plant kingdom. So we have third superclass, plant kingdom, which means that it must be from the third subclass of the plant kingdom, because this corresponds to third superclass in the plant. So we want to get a remedy from there. And as Dr. Sankaran said, which one? So we have to go to the repertory to see. But when we take all these rubrics, we come up with first coming conium, right? But conium we'll know is a plant remedy, so maybe, but it's from the umbelliferae. So that's in the sixth superclass. Same with belladonna, also plant remedy from sixth superclass. Strychnus or strychnine, I think this would be, is also again sixth superclass. So like that, Loganiaceae. But what we can do is, we know that we wanted a remedy from the third subclass of plants. So we can go to our repertory. And here, this is that chart. And what we can very easily do is we can make a filter, and we only want to look at plants, and we can be very specific that we only want to look at the third subclass of plants, which is the Caryophyllaceae. And when we apply it, what's coming first is a remedy called Petiveria titandra, which we haven't probably heard before. No one heard of this before this case, I'm sure. And so using the repertory and the software, we can also make our lives much easier to narrow down without even knowing the remedies. We can still come to them and achieve this accuracy without knowing every remedy that exists. We can use our 5 fingers to get there. So as I said, we've come to Petiveria, and we'll see all these pain, cutting in fingers, first thumb, dreams, frightful, nightmares, delusion floating in the air, heart and circulation, there's constriction, and skin itching in general. And we'll see Petiveria there. But we can also check, again, this comes in our book, Schema 2.0, and we'll see Caryophyllaceae. And here we'll see Portulaceae, Petiveria is there, listed in Caryophyllaceae. This is also useful for seeing, from every kingdom, we have this laid out in schema, the classification of each group of remedies. And so the follow-up was very, very good for this case. After 1 year, physically, all the spots had gone and her patches had reduced. There was no itching, no back pain, and she felt extremely energetic, even after physical exertion. Mentally and emotionally, she was feeling calmer, more relaxed. The irritability had reduced, and she no longer had scary dreams. But even if she did very occasionally, there would be no impact from it. And overall, she said that she felt like she was going through the best phase of her life. And so we can see here, in conclusion or the summary, we have the third superclass, we have the plant kingdom, and Caryophyllaceae. Family, Portulaceae, as we saw from that chart, and the remedy, Petiveria titandra, 200 she was given, and LM6, I think. But one thing else that we can also do and use our tools, which is very interesting, another great aspect of synergy, is if you see here. So I've taken that entire transcript of the case that was written out, and I've copied it. And then if we come here to our software, we can go to this area called Vital Quest, VQ. And we can go to Vital Quest, Sensation Analysis. And we can now paste that entire case into this. And we can analyze it. And it will the software analyzes the case for us. And you will see that it gives it most likely that it will be a plant remedy. And of the plant remedies, that which will most be likely is to be either in the Cactaceae or the Hammermillidae. Both are equally represented here. So it gives us just a clue. We should never totally rely on this, obviously. We need to use our own discretion, but we can use it as a guide. And based on this, using all our other information that we had gathered, we can see how we come close to Cactaceae family, like in this situation. So it's just another interesting use of our tools and how we have so many different approaches that we can use to confirm. Yeah. Are there any questions from anyone about this case or any thoughts that anyone would like to add?
Any suggestions also for what we can do more in Greece, or anything you would like to say or ask? Please go ahead. From my side, I can just express a great relief that there is some respite in this war. It was quite difficult to witness this violence and bombing and killing and disrupting. I cannot even imagine. I mean, our friends from Israel are definitely bearing the brunt of all this, but can't even imagine to live in this kind of situation. So I was praying very hard. I'm not a religious person, but I think this was the occasion that I probably prayed the most, that please bring an end to this quickly. Yes, Kyle, there are some questions, it looks like. And William, I think, wants to say something.
Yes. I think this is Sonia who has asked, is this program MacRep? So this is Synergy Homeopathic Software, which is the latest evolution of MacRep. It used to be called MacRep, and now it's called Synergy Homeopathic Software. It's the most updated version of that. Yeah. Sorry, you said William wanted to speak.
It will be possible, I hope, to see in animal kingdom if, for example, in arachnid kingdom, if all the remedies are in the 5 superclass. I think, for example, for Androctonos, for me it's not so evident. And maybe you separate the mammals kingdom in different superclass, and is it the same thing for arachnid, or for example for snakes? All the snakes are in the 6th class. It's a question for me.
No, it is a very good question. I must say that these ideas are evolving, they are not final. And we are always open to experience to tell us if something is different from what we think right now. So if there are experiences you have or anybody has or I have, we can always be flexible enough to accommodate those experiences. So as you say, Androctonus might well be in the sixth superclass. It is possible,
Yes.
right? So these are tentative things. They are guidelines, not absolute, cast in stone.
Mm. Thank you.
Can I just ask a basic question as a newcomer to this method? I've never understood the idea of a sensation having the sensation and its opposite because it seems to be asked all the time. So if you say a person, I feel constricted, and then you say, well, what is the opposite free? And then you say, well, we know it's a plant because there's a sensation and it's opposite, but you've asked it. So I don't, does it need to be spontaneous? There's always, if you ask somebody the opposite to something, they'll give you an answer. So I don't know why that's a reason for choosing plant because there's a sensation and an opposite. You asked it. I speak English. I know what an opposite of black is white and, hungry and not hungry. Does that make me a plant because I gave you an opposite? You asked me for it. So I don't understand how you use that to pick plants.
Yeah, that is a good question. You are absolutely correct. One, it is much more important if it is spontaneous. That if you see one thing here and the opposite in another place spontaneously, then it would be much more important. But also, what is important is that if there is nothing else, and you'll be very surprised what people can say. Suppose you say, what is the opposite of constriction? You'll be very surprised what people can come up with. And especially if they are not belonging to the plant kingdom, it can go just about anywhere. Then they say, what is the opposite of constriction? They can say love. It's just not logical what people can say. So, one, spontaneity. Second, it must go to the opposite. And thirdly, that should be the entire focus in the case and almost nothing else. So, if it is an animal kingdom, if you say what is constriction, for example, you just say what is constriction, they may immediately go to the word trapped. They might immediately go to the word tortured. So there is no like constriction and its opposite is not the centrality in an animal case. It is in a plant case where you will get almost nothing else. That's how we know it's a plant, in short. Yes, yes, Kyle.
Yeah. So more questions are welcome, but as we also said, any feedback or requests for Greece, we can also try, if you have thoughts, difficulties that you are facing, we can include that into our presentations for Greece. We can focus on them a little bit. It will help us build our presentations. So any difficulties that you are all facing or thoughts, problems, please do bring them up. We might not answer you right away now, but definitely it would help us also prepare for Greece. So any thoughts, difficulties, problems, you're most welcome to share now. It would be appreciated.
The only problem I speak on the behalf of the Israeli group is if there will be flights from Israel, and we all hope that till the 3rd of May we all order tickets and we want to come. So pray for us.
For sure, for sure. Looks good at the moment, Rafi. Let's see how it goes. Yes, anything else, Kyle?
Yeah. So I'll just talk about also, sorry, second. The next steps. Oh, maybe there's a question. We'll come back to that. So the next steps of the seminar, basically what next? So we've had this discussion today, and I've told you about the books, etc. I've already received quite a few emails, people asking about purchasing the books. That's wonderful. But we had also mentioned in the brochure about some preparatory recordings, some information to help some of you who haven't necessarily been up to date. So I will be sharing in the next day or two links to recordings that you can watch, and please do go through them. These are really, really top-notch content that we have. It's a really wonderful seminar that we have that we're sharing with you, and it really condenses and highlights and emphasizes all of this information, and it will teach you all about five-finger methods, superclasses, all of that. So I will be sharing that with you. It's really good content, so please do go through it. And if any questions come up, you're also welcome again to write to us and let us know your feedback about watching this content. But further to this, the idea of Greece is not that it's the final destination. We'll meet there, have a lovely seminar, and then go our separate ways. As always, we want to really take this forward into the future, and it should be a launching point, this Greek seminar, that we want to really refine the knowledge, and then we go off into our practices, apply it, and stay with this method. So what we are actually announcing next, sorry, I've told you about this, is our next international Gurukul. Will be starting in May as well. And so this is, there are plenty of international Gurukul people here. We might ask one or two just to talk about it. But also, if you have time, you in Greece, please do speak to them about it and what it's like for them, because it really is an amazing program that we're doing. And we feel, and hopefully they'll corroborate, that it's really changed the way that they are learning and practicing. So this is a 15-month program, which we will be starting off, continuing going from Greece and building from what we learn in Greece. So it's really, really amazing. I'll just give you a brief information. So from between May and July, this is what we call as the introductory phase. So these are for our newcomers, people who haven't been part of the Gurukul before. It can be anyone who attends in Greece. And for these introductory phases, we will be sharing more recordings and the highlights of the previous international Gurukul. So many cases, live cases, we have seminars, we have really great, great content teaching about every aspect of homeopathy. So we will be sharing this with you, these recordings, and we'll also have a monthly meeting. We'll come together and we'll discuss and we'll answer queries and doubts for these first 3 months. Then from August, we will then start what we call as the advanced phase. And now this is for the newcomers who have just joined this new international Gurukul, and then our returning Gurukul people who are part of this current and the previous Gurukul. They will continue with everyone together. And from this point, we will be sending out monthly cases for everyone to work on. You receive the new case video at the beginning of the month. You have to work on it, analyze it, and you send it in. And you each you're put in a group with a mentor, and you share your analysis with the mentor before the 15th of the month. And then on the 15th of the month, we share the explanation video of that new case. So you can go through it and see where you went wrong, where you went right, and how the case was actually solved, like that. And then throughout the month as well, you'll also have one meeting with your mentor, with your group, where you will discuss that case and also the cases from your practice, your difficulties applying this method in your practice. And then at the end of the month, we will all meet together with Dr. Sankaran. So it goes like this. We have at the first of the month, we have the new case recording. 15th of the month, we have the explanation video. Mid-month, depending on your group and your mentor, you will decide on a convenient time for everyone. You will meet and discuss. Sorry, that's a mistake about the live Zoom case there. And at the end of every month, there's a 2-hour session with Dr. Sankaran discussing this. We bring cases, we answer questions. But also mid-month, what the issue is here is we also have one live case every month where Dr. Sankaran sees a patient and he takes the case, and then we discuss it and share the analysis and the explanation. So there are actually 5 events every month. So it's very much case-based learning. Everything is done based off of cases and cured cases and live cases. And also you have your mentor who you're most welcome to be in contact with. You can discuss your difficulties with them and your mentor group. So it's very, very useful, this. So we are only taking 50 participants. We are increasing it a little bit. This last one, we maxed out on 45. We had to stop it at 45. But now for the next one, we are going to take 50. But we aren't taking more than that. So it's important that you let us know, because this is very popular and we feel that we'll definitely get 50. So please do let us know. Now, for new registrants who take the introductory and the advanced phase both, the fee is $1,500. However, for everyone who attends Greece, obviously there's a lot going on and we want you to continue and be a part of it. So we will be offering a discount for all of you who have attended Greece as well to join this international Gurukul. There will be a discount off this. And this gives you all of this information. Yeah. So I know that actually, I don't know if I could call on maybe Guy was here today, I think. Maybe you could speak a little bit about International Gurukul for you and just give an idea maybe for some of the new people how it was, if that's okay with you, Guy.
Sure thing. This is the second year of my Gurukul, and the 26, 27 will be my third year. And this is one of the best things I've participated in homeopathy learning, and it's an amazing thing. I mean, at the beginning when I joined, I thought, it's a once a month meeting. What can I gain from this? But this is totally not like this. We get every beginning of the month. You said beginning of the month, but Kyle really sends it on the first of the month. It's amazing. We get a video case. We work on it, analyze it personally, send it. The meeting with the mentor is very important. The group meeting, it's colleagues together working, using the same language, and then getting the solution, understanding it, and the live case. It became the center of my learning point during these years. And I'm really I was very happy to learn that it is continuous and happening next year. And I'm really looking forward to continuing it, because it really affected my clinic work and my understanding of the 5-finger methods and of homeopathy in general.
Lovely. Thanks so much for sharing, Guy. And yes, really, please, if you're interested, do write to me. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. It really is a great thing. And what I've noticed about the Gurukul people is that they've also even formed their own little study groups. I've seen a lot of people from all around the world are now connected in their little groups, and they're always in contact. They're discussing their cases from their clinic. So it's really created a wonderful network beyond just what we're teaching. And we see a lot of these people now are teaching as well. And Guy is one example. He's now got the confidence and he's going out there, he's teaching these things as well. So it's really nice to see how this group has flourished and grown. So if you do have information, please, if you do have queries, do let me know. And then maybe
I can give you an example that I share the case of myself with my colleague from Hungary. And the fact that we speak the same lingo. We use the same terms that I can share the case and she can come back. And she gave me a different aspect of what I thought. And again, it was inside the five-finger method. And I gave this remedy, and the remedy works fantastic. So
Wonderful. That's great to hear. Yeah, so it's beyond just pure information. So please do let us know. And then maybe I have also sent out, if you haven't received it or you've missed it in some of the emails, do let me know. But we did send out like quite a interesting brochure, which was really lovingly put together by Eleni about Greece and all the things to do there, restaurants and how to get from the airport, etc. I have shared that a few times on mail, but if you still haven't received it, let me know. I'll be happy to share it with you again. And also, Eleni, maybe you could share just a little bit about, coming up, if you had any thoughts about the seminar, about the location and all of that. We'd love to hear from you. You've been a great help there.
Mhm. Thank you, Kyle. Yeah, that's why I wrote this guide, and I love this place because it's where I live, near where I live. So I think it will be a wonderful seminar. All seminars of Dr. Sankaran that I have attended are very, very beautiful and educational, and many, many things to do and many things to learn. So I think this seminar in Greece will also help us to get together in different places, at the beach, at the tavernas, at the restaurant. It's going to be summer, so we have a full day of sun. The night, it's not. It's about 9 o'clock that it's getting dark, so it will be a whole day of sunshine to do things like the meditation in the morning and the wise, the 2 days, the last days with the wise. I think Greece will offer too much for us to make possible the ideas of Dr. Sankaran. I'm very happy, and I'm looking forward to meet you all and learn from you.
Lovely. Thanks so much, Eleni, for all your help as well on that guide. It's really good. So please do go through it. If you need it or you don't have it, do let me know.
My pleasure, Kyle.
Can you send it again because I didn't get it?
Sorry, Rafi, what do you want me to repeat?
Send it again.
Yes, if I need to send the brochure about the area,
Yeah,
we created a whole travel guide. I will send it to you guys for sure.
Thank you very much.
Sure. Yeah. Anything else from anyone?
Just a reminder, since everybody's here, that I'm putting together a spreadsheet for taxis to share. So if you come to the WhatsApp group and you'll see asking for when you're arriving, what time, what airline, when you're leaving, what hotel you're staying at, it's all there in the WhatsApp group. So if you want, you could private message me or you could message there, and then you could buddy up, because it's a 25-minute ride in expensive countries. You might want to share a taxi ride together. So please get that into me as quickly as possible so I could share the spreadsheet.
Lovely. Thanks also to you, Robin, for doing that. So if you're not on the WhatsApp group, please do join. I have sent out the joining link, but if you're having difficulty, you can just tell me and I'll add you. Send me your number if I don't have it already. Yeah.
I just want to add that for our wise 2 days, I have organized some very nice facilitators to come. Besides for Kyle and me, Shiti will be there, Piyush will be there, Gentiana will be there, and Deborah will be there, and there will be some others. So we have some 7 or 8 facilitators who have good experience with this, and we will form into groups where individual facilitation will be possible. So it will be good. Yes, Kyle. So I think it's time to say au revoir, off with a sin until we see each other in person, right?
Yes. So there are a few people who had been invited here by friends and that as well, who weren't necessarily attending the seminar. But if we've caught your interest and you do want to join, this is definitely your last chance, because we are getting very full and obviously closer to the date. So just drop me a line if you want to join in the seminar, or if you know someone who wants to join. In the next day or two would be preferable, just so we can finalize everything, the lunches and all that needs to be done. I have put the WhatsApp group thing in the chat, but you can email me as well.
And Kyle, I think you're planning to put today's meeting also on YouTube, is that right?
Yes, we will share the recording with everyone. As well, some people arrived late, or you have your colleagues who maybe you wanted them to join us. We will share the link to the recording. We'll probably put it on YouTube or something like that. We'll finalize and we'll send it by tomorrow, so you can watch it again. And then also the recordings for the pre-seminar preparation we will share. Yeah. Okay, so lovely. Thanks, everyone. And as I've mentioned a few times, please, any questions, any doubts, just drop me a message. You're most welcome.
Namaste.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks,
Bye
everyone.
bye.
Bye-bye.